Alright. Good morning, everyone. So this well here is 89 foot total depth. It had a bunch of sediment and stuff in the bottom of it. So I'm going to set up and run the baler down, see if I can get any of that sediment out of there. And then I'm going to set a test pump in this well. And see what kind of flow rate it's got. These guys are looking for as much water as they can possibly get. So the way this baler works, it's got a plunger on the bottom of it, and when it hits the bottom of the well, it will open and basically kind of acts like a siphoning device. It'll pull all that silt and trash up off the bottom. Right there's the bottom of the hole. So I'm going to mark that. Maybe. Or mark it close anyway. And then we'll see if we gain any ground as we do this. Typically I'll pull it up about 10 feet or so. Let it fall. Put my tape on there to mark where it's right below the pitless. That way I don't yank it up, destroy the pitless adapter. my tape. About 10 foot. So we actually gained about 6 inches on that go around. If I get to the point that I see I'm not making any headway, then I'll just abandon this and move on to setting my test pump. Watch my tape, set the top of the mast. I'm about halfway down. Still the same, about 6 inches. Yep, we're not making any headway. We wanted to see if this well had silted in or anything, but we're thinking 90 foot's going to be 89 foot. Yeah, I might run down one more time. We'll let it fall from a little bit higher up this time. Tape is at the top of the mast now, so we'll let it fall about 20 foot. Still didn't go any further. That's definitely going to be bottom of the hole. Let's see how much crap is in this bucket. see all the debris in the bottom of that bucket. All right. Oh, come on. Hard to creep that sand line. That thing wants to go. Oh, baby. Well, I got this thing here. Pretty sure I seen a new, not a new one, but a carter pin. Oh yeah. Perfect. That's a diddle daisy. Alright. Now, extend our mast out a little bit. That should be a plenty. See if I can thread it through the tree limbs. Oh yeah. Alright. Switch back over to my sand line, get it up out of the way. Grab this ginormous pump we're using here. This is a 5-horse, 45 gallon a minute. This is one of our test pumps that we would normally use for this type of stuff. Alright, swap over to my 1.25 inch. Yep, excuse me. Notice I've only got 63 feet of pipe here. And put that there. Got all this wonderful stuff that I need. Sit that there now. That, oh yeah, sweet. I think I'm just going to use pipe dope. I don't feel like dealing with that copper coat again. Crap gets all over everything. Not saying the pipe dope doesn't either, but come on now, get in there. Little daisy. I'm going to run this static line down with my wire. That way I can run a wire level indicator down. Tell me where the water level is anytime I want to know. No. Alright. Now, I need to measure what this is to the intake. Four and a half feet. Alright, I'm just trying to figure out where my pump end is going to be, or my intake is going to be. And then what I'll end up doing is I've got a T-handle over here that's got a 5-foot piece of pipe on it. So I'll take it off. And I'll add it on to the very top. That way that'll put me sitting down at 70 some feet. You need to get out of my way. Excuse me, sir. You need to go. You need to go. And I need you. And I need you. This one, since it's gone so shallow, I'm able to use number 10 wire. But the other one I'm doing over here, it's going to be going down 273. So I'll have to transition to number 8 wire on that one. That way we don't starve our pump for voltage. Oh wow, somebody cut those exactly the right length. So we've got pump intake depth 72.5, airline 68 feet. Our meter reading is 241278. Alright, so that's garbage now. Grab our water level indicator here. It's marked off in feet. Actually, feet in tenths. So 22.1. We're going to jot that number down. 22.1. And then it's 10 minutes till 10, so we'll just start the test right at 10 o'clock. So I've got a deluxe control box here. You got your L1, L2, but it's also got a switch side. So you got to put a jumper in there to energize the contactor. You can see those numbers on that. And we've got 2 of these things. They've been really handy. So it gives you a tone when you're in water. Canadian product. Took us a little bit to get them, but man, they're great. Alright, I guess I'm going to grab me a drink and get ready to fire this thing up. This meter I'm using, it's accurate plus or minus 2% up to 50 gallons a minute. I'm probably going to throttle it back some. Maybe start out at about 30. Or maybe even 20. It's got a pretty high static, so it should flat out swing some water. Then we've got our yield and drawdown report here. So we'll start out the test whatever time. We'll check it every 5 minutes for the first hour, and then we get into hourly readings. We're going to be recording depth of the water, our meter reading, and whether our water is clear, dirty, dingy, what have you. Why I like using this clear hose. You don't have to walk all the way down to your discharge to see what the water looks like. I'd really like to have my digital water meter, but It's a whole lot easier to read, and you don't have to time it. But it won't get into that range that we're looking for. I could have brought out our blue-white F2000 unit, but it's kind of too big for this. Not too big, overkill. Plus there's more plumbing you got to do. You got to have X amount of feet in front of your meter, X amount of feet after it. Be sure your pipe's full of water, and we don't know what this well's going to do. I mean, it may only do 2 gallons a minute. We do have the drill log that we suspect is that well right there behind the trailer that I'm going to be doing next. According to records, it was doing 20 gallons a minute when it was drilled, but that was many years ago. Then there's another well beyond that picnic shelter down over the bank. It's loaded with sulfur. It's actually an artesian well. It overflows. Very little, but it overflows. We've already tested it. We've actually already did a mini test on this one with the existing pump that was in it. We've already pulled out. I've got that video. I still got to get it together. When we were pumping this one before, it was doing 11 gallons a minute with the existing pump, and we only dropped the static 14 feet, I think it was. We're getting close to time, so I'm going to at least it's nice and pretty today. Last time we were up here it was colder than hell. Wind blowing 200 miles an hour. All right, 20 seconds. So that's 13 and a half. $22 and a half. $26 and a half. That's going to be really close to 30 right there. 10 gallons in 20 seconds. $52.2. Kind of chase it down, see where we're going, how fast it's dropping. So we are at 61, a little over 61 feet, doing 28 gallons a minute. Water's pretty clear. Smells like ass, but it's clear. Which we knew that already. It's got sulfur in it, so it's definitely gonna stink. Definitely gonna stink. Alright, I'm going to get through this first hour testing, then I'll check back in with you guys, get you an update on where we're at, what this one's doing, and may have some water quality results to share at that time, but I'll probably wait till closer toward the end of the test to do that. So we'll catch up with you guys here in just a little bit. Alright, I am back with a 12 o'clock update. Started the test this morning at 10 o'clock, and we started out in the neighborhood of 30 gallons a minute. 12 o'clock check was down to 24. It's been back and forth, clear, muddy, clear, muddy. So, kind of typical for a well that hasn't been pumped in quite some time. I think this has been shut down about a year and a half or so. And so far it's hanging in there pretty good. I just went and checked the water level on the other well. It's at 19 foot. So do not think that these wells are talking to one another. Fractures aren't connected. So that's a good sign. I will monitor this one when I do the other pump test, just to be sure nothing changes with this one. I'm going to run this one till 3 o'clock, shut it down, do a recovery, probably an hour recovery maybe. See what that does. And apparently there is a hawk nest right above me that I didn't even realize was there. And I put my drone up a little while ago I got some footage, and all of a sudden they started screeching, and of course I didn't know the nest was there until I done put the drone up, turned around and happened to see it there. One of them flew in and landed. I think they have either eggs or chicks in there. One of them come flying at me earlier. So that was kind of cool. But sorry, I didn't know your nest was there. Alright, well guys, I will catch up with you. I'll do a probably a 2:30 update. Do a water quality check, see where we're at. And recovery, yank this thing out, get the other one set today. And I'll probably end up having to come back tomorrow to do that. I don't feel like working a 20-hour day. Trying to get these done at one time. So, alright, well, we'll catch up with you guys around 2:30 or so. Alright guys, we're back with a 2:30 update. I've done a water quality test already. No sulfur, hardness was 16, TDS of 295, 6 parts of clear iron, and a pH of 6.5. Not terrible. Certainly a manageable water quality to deal with. We've been pumping. It's gradually been dropping down. Last reading at 2 o'clock was 21 gallons a minute. I did have to move my discharge hose over to this side of the property, trying to get it to migrate down toward that deeper valley right there versus over toward the tennis court for this little park here. So water's still looking clear. It gets turbid off and on. I do have to throttle my valve back. I think it's just pulling too much sediment in there, binding up in impellers, and it's just slowing the flow down. It probably shouldn't have set it that deep, but yeah, that's what you got to do when you flow test one. Try to get all you can out of it. Especially when you don't have any records. So, but I'll catch up with you guys probably a little after 3 o'clock. Once I take all my final readings, I'm going to shut down, and then I'm going to do a 1-hour recovery on this before I start pulling equipment out of it. I don't want to skew my results. And then once that hour recovery's up, then I'll go ahead and yank it out. I'll move over to the next one, get it set, and we'll catch up with you guys then. I'm going to pull this meter apart and clean it real quick before I move over to the next one. Maybe I'm going to get my chain wrench on it. Pretty simple meter design. You got a notch right here that sits into. Got a little nub on it there. Impeller comes out. Check to make sure it don't have any grit or iron or anything on it. Looks pretty good. Pull out your bottom strainer. It's got some dirt in it I'll have to clean out. Get out of there. Quite a bit of junk in there actually. little gravels and stuff. Usually if you just press on them, they'll pop right out of there. Don't lose the rubber, Mark. Got it. Don't lose this one either. Got it too. We got a couple of stubborn rocks that won't want to come out. Just poke them through with a screwdriver or pocket knife, whatever you got. Alright. Oop, missed one. Yep, missed two. Alright. So that's everything out of the strainer. Pop it back in there. Put your bottom set back in. Come on now. Why aren't you cooperating with me? No, got a gravel in there. There we go. Yeah. Put your turbine back in. Clean the grip from around your gasket. That way it seals. And remember, it's got a nub here. It only lines up, can go one way. Just like so. Put your cage back on. Reassemble. That's it. Now we're ready for testing on the next one. So this well, it finished up at 66 feet of total drawdown at 22 gallons a minute. I shut it down at 3 o'clock, and my next check is going to be at 3:15. So we'll see how much is recovered, total recovery, in that amount of time. I do have my valve shut here because I don't think we've got a check valve in this pump end. If you don't shut the valve, it'll suck all the water back. It'll give you a false reading. So I took the original static level with the pump and pipe wire everything in the hole. So we're going to leave that just the way it is because that's taking up space in the hole. Otherwise it'll skew your readings. Alright, and we are at 32.4. So then we take our ending of 66 minus 32.4 gives us a total recovery feet of 33.6 in 15 minutes. Shut up. That's what our recovery sheet looks like. You got your elapsed time. We're only doing a 1 hour recovery here. Depth of water. Always write down what my finish is here so I remember. Current reading, total recovery, that subtracted from that is that. And then I'll do the same thing on down the list. So this is total recovery. So you're always subtracting from your last number here, or your ending number, sorry. So, alright, well, I'll finish out this hour and I'll touch base with you guys and fill you in where we finished up.